There is one big course creation mistake that folks make that lead to four others. And most experts don't even realize that they're making this mistake. It's a foundational piece that when it's missing can waste a ton of time and energy. I'm Dr. Catrina Mitchum, and I've been designing and redesigning courses online since 2009. So what is that big mistake? It is not getting to the core of the problem, right? So if you watched last week's video, you saw that picking a topic that you love, that you know a lot about, and that your audience wants to actually learn about is critical to starting those foundations. But after you've picked that topic and you've gotten that feedback, the next thing you need to do is really drill down to the core of the problem that you're solving for them, right? And so this will help you to stay focused when you want to be the expert that shares all the knowledge about all the things that you know. Having it boiled down to the core problem is really going to set you up to not make further mistakes. It is the root mistake of most people that I work with on courses. Without clarity around this thing, courses tend to fall apart. They tend to get too big. They tend to get bloated. You get excited about all the things you want to put in it. It leads to the second mistake. That second mistake is trying to teach everything, right? Your students don't need all of the information that you know about this topic. And if you picked a focused topic, that is great. It means you're less likely to do that. But it is still really easy to just start giving information, right? We don't learn, nobody learns by just pouring information into your head. The most effective learning happens when you've set up a situation where they are actively doing the thing, right, that's getting to the goal, and the information that you're giving them is supporting the doing, right? Focus on the doing. The content should support the doing. And when you don't have that core problem identified, and it leads to starting to get bigger and bigger with content that isn't maybe helping solve that core problem. Because when that core problem is fuzzy, it can make it hard to know what to continue focusing on. This also is the result of not having concrete goals, right? And so that's mistake number 3. Mistake number 3 is not having concrete goals for the course. Those goals need to be based in the core problem of the thing that you're solving, because students need to know what they're going to be able to do by the end. What are they going to be able to achieve in an effort to solve that problem? That lack of clear and concrete goals means that there's no clear path, right? We need goals to work on what the steps are to reach those goals to then solve the problem, right? And this is how we create a learning journey, a learning experience, as opposed to a dump of information on people. So when we don't have those things, it makes it harder to create a learning path, right? Let alone the start here and onboarding things. Those are important. Those are necessary. Those are the things that made me so angry about that course that I bought that was a shitty course. And if you want to know more, go back and watch the first video in this playlist. But they didn't have those things because they hadn't set up a clear learning path for their students. If they had done that, then those pieces would have been easy. It would have been easy to say, this is where you get started. This is how you'll want to work through this material, work through this course based on the goals that you're coming in with and the goals that we have for you, right? They would have been able to easily articulate all those things, but they had not set up an actual learning journey, right? And that learning journey is set in the goals that are helping us to solve that core problem, right? And the 5th big mistake is that it's not action-based, right? Learning happens when we take information that we have comprehended, that we understood, and we apply it, we recall the information to do that application, and then we repeat the cycle, right? Spaced recall is one of the things that helps information to stick. And when we are doing an action, we are recalling the information to help it to stick. But if we don't have a learning journey that is considering that cycle that we need to do, because we don't have goals set up, because we haven't had the core of the problem really clearly articulated, then we aren't setting students up for success. Our learners come to us and maybe they're just consuming information, they're not doing anything with it, and they leave and they're like, okay, well, what did I actually get out of that, right? And so for you as the course creator, these mistakes not only build on each other, but they create a space where people aren't coming and getting the results that they want. Even if you know your shit, right? You can really know what you're talking about, but if you haven't created this learning experience, they're not going to take it and do something with it. So how do we get to that core problem that ripple effects every other mistake that I've covered in this video? You do the 5 whys exercise. The 5 whys exercise is one that takes the problem that you think, right, and forms it as a question. So why do they need to learn about XYZ? And then you answer it. You answer that question. And then you take your answer and say, okay, well, why does that matter? So for example, why do they need to learn about improving open rates in email marketing? Well, because email marketing is an important part of their sales funnel. So why is email marketing an important part of their sales funnel, right? And so you keep working through the whys until you kind of get to the core of the problem that you're helping them solve with your course topic. And then from there, you create those concrete goals, and then you create the steps, and then you pull in the content, so you make sure you don't have too much information and everything is grounded in the action to reach the goals that are going to solve the problem. If you want a guide for all that, I do have a course maker guide linked in the description, and it does walk you through all of these steps. In next week's video, I am going to walk you through how to choose when to DIY things and when to start getting some help with your course. If it's not there, it'll be there next week.